I have an insane outfit on. There's a trash truck outside randomly deciding to be loud, but I am here. It is time. I'm really far from the camera. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's a mess. Hello everyone, and welcome to whatever this video is gonna become. My name is Zarina, and I'm finally back for the August wrap-up video. Yay! Is it basically like the second half of September? Yes, but listen, okay, listen. I did not mean to go on a hiatus last week. That was not planned. I had a pretty severe, I wouldn't call it a migraine. I don't think it was the symptoms of a migraine. Like, I could open my eyes to light. I just had a very constant headache, flat across the front of my head. I currently still have it. I've had it since creaky chair, trash truck, crazy outfit. I've literally had this headache for over a week. My chiropractor has done everything he can do. My physical therapist has done everything she can do. We don't know why I'm having this headache. I also refuse to take pain medication, even like aspirin. I don't like it, but I currently still have a headache. I have so many life updates, but I'm gonna instead just try to get into the books because for some godforsaken reason, I decided to read 22 books last month. What the is wrong with me? I like bleeped myself in real life. That was funny. Yeah, it's been so long since I recorded a video. I'm on to my new notebook. Yes, that is Felix. He's not in my current bias line, but like he's the bias line in my heart, which literally consists of all 8 Stray Kids members. Anyway, here are my stickers on the inside. Here are my stickers on the back. Hello, don't be rude. Thank you. Yeah, we got Anya, we got Paimon. So, because I read 22 books, and I do not have the mental capacity to edit a full-length, feature-length film. What the fuck did I just say? I don't have the capacity to edit the entire length of a movie, of a video. I love you guys, but I really don't think, I don't think I'm gonna survive that. So instead I'm gonna be splitting my stuff up into 2 different videos. I know, I'm so sorry, okay? I really have nothing else to say for myself because I don't know what possessed me to read 22 books. And then also some of these are in the reading vlog from the beginning of the month, but I don't remember which ones. So, and I also can't be bothered to watch my own videos. So we're just gonna go over all of them. And it's gonna be so fine, and it's gonna be so great, and it's gonna be wonderful. I also unfortunately don't have most of them because they were A, either library books, or B, also library books, but audiobooks. I think what got into me is now the air conditioning turned on. Oh my god. And the truck is back. But we're gonna be covering 12 in this video. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. And that is because I will be going over my young adult and children/middle grade books that I read for the month. Hopefully later this week's video, I will be doing my graphic novels/manga and my adult books. So sorry if you really don't like middle grade or young adult. That's what's coming out on Wednesday. I have to do it someplace, and it made up a majority of my reads. Only by 2 books is it in the majority. Actually, 1 book made it the majority, but it is the majority nonetheless. So, though I am going to be talking about young adult books and middle grade books, this video is not made for children. So if you are a child, go away. I will be cussing, and I will not hold back my feelings, and I will not spare my thoughts. So if you are a actual child, leave, because this is not meant for you. So come back when you turn 18. Cool. Just wanted to clear that out of the way because I will have I will have middle grade in the title, and I just want to be clear. So if you are a parent and you're overhearing your children listening, stop them. This is not a video for kids. But if you're a parent here who wants to see someone review middle grade, hi, really random, but cool. Welcome. Let me shut the fuck up and talk about something on topic. I need you to know, because I tend to forget, about 2 weeks ago, I wrote myself little mini summaries. This is the list of all the books to make sure that I wrote them all down. This is my list of summaries of what they are about, and I need to read you what I wrote. So my first book that I'm going to be talking about is An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. It is a contemporary fiction novel, and I ended up rating it 3 stars. I wrote, guy who only dates girls with the name Catherine gets broken up with. His bro makes him go take a road trip where they end up nowhere and discover the secrets of life. And if you've read the book, that's exactly it. That literally is the plot of the entire book. It was actually really fun, which I don't feel like I usually say for John Green novels. Usually I am so upset that I just hate everything. Like, The Fault in Our Stars is really sad. Like, even though you know what's gonna happen, it's really sad. And then the other one I read, Turtles All the Way Down, is just so dark. I remember it being so dark, and I remember not being in the best place in my life to read it, and because I did not understand that Turtles All the Way Down was the first John Green book I ever read, so I didn't quite understand the intensity of the emotion in John Green novels, so that wasn't the best. But this one, I feel like I actually genuinely had a fun time. Gave it 3 stars because I don't think I'm the demographic for John Green novels, but someone who is the demographic for John Green novels might really like it. I think it was a little too existential for me, and I really did not find this guy funny, and I fear that I didn't find him funny because I am this guy, but like, I don't remember anymore, to be fully honest. I don't remember. I just remember thinking like I just didn't understand. Didn't understand the humor. I didn't understand what was going on. And I was just like, but by the end, like, the way it wraps up is so nice and so pleasant and so happy. And I was like, yeah, this is good. This is great. Yeah, so 3 stars. Moving on to the next book. Wow, I need to know, I've already been recording for 7 minutes and I've done 1 book. The next book that I'm going to be talking about is To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. It is the first book in the Gods Beyond Skies series by Chang. This is a fantasy sci-fi series, and I ended up rating it a 2.25 stars. Unfortunately, this book was not it. And I will explain why. So, the author starts with her explaining that the anger in this book comes from a real life place of a city in China that got invaded by the Japanese and were forced to, like, the Japanese soldiers did horrible experiments on the Chinese population of the city, and it was just really, really bad. I believe it was during World War II, and like, this book was kind of like her, like, a love letter to what her family has survived. And I kind of went into it thinking like, oh, this is gonna be really good, because that just, wow, there's a lot of passion behind this. Unfortunately, the execution was not there, like, nearly at all. This book, I forgot her name, and of course I didn't write it because that would have been way too smart. Basically, a girl of, there's like this land where like magic is their main, they're not very scientifically advanced, but they have a lot of magic, and they're in this world. History has it so that the Roman Empire did not fall, and Rome still rules the entire world. But basically, because Rome is Rome, they kind of destroyed everything, and the planet is like dying, you know, like now. And they basically are like, well, we can't do anything with this planet, so what do we gotta do? We gotta go over to this other place, and that they found using their science, because they don't have magic, they have science. They're gonna use their science, and they find this other realm, or like basically different dimension, where this girl lives, and they like basically are like, we're gonna just colonize you because you have all the things that we need to make ourselves better, and we're going to restrict your magic because it's dangerous towards us. And yeah, and basically you are colonized and we are going to oppress you. And our main character starts being very, very mad about that. And she is mad specifically at this one guy who used to be her bestie, but he now, basically they also bring this world's equivalent of opium, and is basically poisoning the people and getting them addicted to opium, and then they give up their life savings and then they die. Except this, like, the thing that the drug that they're working with basically instead works where it like strengthens their magic a little bit more, and they become addicted to it, but it causes like their magic core to like be spent faster, and then they die. And of course they're addicted to it, so like that. And so the girl's best friend is now like the leader of this said opium ring, and she's mad at him because she's like, you gave yourself up to the colonizers, like, I hate you, don't you know, blah 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 blah. I got another one where I need to read you my actual notes. Girl who colonized land where magic is illegal tries to hide that she has powerful magic and anger issues. But yeah, basically she has anger issues because most YA protagonists do, and like, honestly, in her situation, like, kind of fair. But because her magic flares with her anger, she basically ends up robbing this one guy in an alley because she's like, well, you have gold and I don't, and I'm poor and I'm being oppressed, so I will steal your money. And she ends up getting caught by this guy, and he like almost kills her, or like his bodyguard does, and she's like, well, time to use my magic. She uses her magic on him and basically accidentally ends up revealing her magic to the prince of this colonizer regime, my bad. And from there, he's like, now you are forced to work as an assassin for me. And I think if that setup sounds cool, it was. It was badly written, but it was a cool setup, and I was waiting for it to deliver. However, unfortunately, she starts liking said colonizer prince because he's not like the other ones, and she can make him good. And literally, even the guy that she hated at the beginning of the book, he's like, you're going too far, and she's like, but I'm not. And like, there's a romance plotline that's incredibly uncomfortable to read. There is literally nothing happens in this book basically, other than like 3 main plot points that probably could have happened in about 100, 200 less pages. It is a lot of her talking about how much she hates the oppression, but then also not doing anything about it, which I understand, like, a little bit of the point, right? Like, she's stuck. However, it's just like, if you read the book, she's talking about how much she's doing, and then, well, like, actually doing nothing. Like, the writing was so bad. It was not good. I think that was my lowest rated book for the month. I don't think I DNF'd anything. Oh, I did DNF one thing, but yeah, otherwise, oh no, actually I do have something rated lower. I did not have a good reading month last month, apparently. Okay, what made it even more unfortunate for this book is that I'm currently reading Song of Silver Flame Like Night, which has literally basically the same setup. Almost identical setup. I am not gonna lie. I'm not saying that anyone plagiarized anyone. That's not what I'm saying. Just, it happens to be the 2 Chinese authors, probably taking inspiration from the same event, happen to write books that are very, very similar. The magic systems are completely different. The character types are different. But Song of Silver Flame Like Night is just so good. Like, it's probably, I'm only about 30-45% of the way through, and I'm taking my time because I know this is gonna be a 5-star book, and like, I can already feel it being a 5-star book, and the tension is so good, and there's so many things about Song of Silver Flame Like Night that are so good, and I know when I finally finish it and get to talk about it in one of these videos, I'm going to not shut up about it for a long time. However, because the 2 books are so similar, it just like made it so like stark, the contrast so stark that, what, is that what I'm trying to say? Is that a saying? Cynthia's shaking her head at me through the camera. That like, To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods was so bad. So I actually fully removed the series from my electronic TBR, and that's great. It was a great feeling to have it go down 2 numbers. It was so good. Anyway, before I'm too mean, oh, just kidding, my next book is also rated incredibly low, and this is gonna probably be a shocker. So actually, I think I talked about the vlog, so if you've watched the vlog, this is not a shock. If you've not seen the vlog, this is a shock. It's a very popular book series, and that is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. It is the first book in Secrets of the Nile. It is a fantasy historical romance, and it got rated 2.0 stars. It was, oh my god. So I went into the series with a lot of caution, because a lot of booktubers that I like and have similar reading tastes to did not like this series, but they liked number 1 and they didn't like number 2. So I went into number 1 with decently high expectations, because literally everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's so fun, the magic system is so cool, she's such a cool character, and I was like, cool, I'm going to enjoy this. And then I proceeded to hate this book, like, so bad. I literally fought for my life to not DNF it, because I was like, maybe there's a payoff in the end, maybe there's something that makes this book cool, and like, no. It was incredibly unfortunate. It was terrible. Basically, it follows this girl who, her parents work as archaeologists, and like, they spend half the year in Egypt. However, her parents have died, and she was like, well, no one's telling me shit, so I gotta go take myself to Egypt with my newfound money and figure out what the hell happened to my parents. But when she gets there, everyone doesn't want to see her. Everyone's like, go back to Argentina, because you know, don't be here for like any number of given reasons. She's given a bunch of really horrendous reasons why she shouldn't go back. They're just basically being like, go back because you're a girl and we have to watch you, and like, no, we don't want you here. Like, literally, they did not give her any good reasons. why she should go back, because all this girl knows is that her parents died mysteriously, and her uncle's up to no good. Her uncle's like, the guy who works for his uncle's up to no good. The government doesn't like her uncle or her parents or anything that's happening, and she's just like, well, unfortunately, guys, I have nothing better to do. She's like, I am now rich, and I have plenty of time on my hands, and like, most of my family is dead, or here, or in Argentina where they want to be. So like, no, I'm not going home. There's magic in this world, and the magic system's a little interesting. There's like these objects that hold magic, and like when the world has kind of, at this time when the story takes place, has forgotten how to like create magic objects, but they can still use the magic objects. It's just like every time a magic object gets handed down, it loses a bit of its magic. So that was interesting until it wasn't, because like it actually doesn't go very far in depth. Like the magic system did not make much sense. It was kind of like a very shallow surface level. Also, what didn't help was this book takes place in like 1880, and I don't know why, but this month I was reading so many historical romances that specifically take place in like 1860 to 1910. Like yeah, all over the place. Europe, Egypt, Argentina, all around the globe, just 1880. So I was kind of like really immersed in the social norms of this time period, and this book just does not do a very good job. Like, she mentions them all the time, but then like does not act a part of them. She is like so incredibly naive. It's so painful. And like, I have been reading a lot of older YAs, so I didn't really quite notice the YA female main character is incredibly naive to the point it's painful epidemic until I was reading last month, and I was like, oh, right, of course. Because I was also reading The Hunger Games at this point, and I was like, Katniss knows what's up, and this is a YA series, so like, why are we literally 19 and like being an idiot? So yeah, that was incredibly annoying. I'm just like tearing these books apart. I'm so sorry if this is your favorite book. Like, no hate to you. It's just like yeah, but I don't know. I just heard so many good things, and this book was like bad after bad. I literally guessed every plot twist at least 50 pages before it happened. There was no actual plot twist. It was more like a slight curve, a plot curve, because it should have been a plot twist, except it literally was so heavily alluded to that I was like, it was pretty bad. So it will highly surprise you that I actually read Where the Library Hides, which is book 2 in this series, nearly immediately, mainly because 2 months ago in July, I remembered that I have free will and can can check out things from the library. So I found the audiobook for this, and there was no wait time on it. I was like, I will see, because I want to know if book 2 is nearly as bad as people said they are, because I had the same. So this specific publisher, they do this thing where they sometimes publish books way before, like an edit or two before they should be, and I believe it's the same editor as Fourth Wing, the same publishing company. I don't think the same wing, but the same company. And I was like, well, for Fourth Wing, I hated Fourth Wing. Like, didn't hate it. I like thought it was okay. It was like kind of mid, but like it was a decent book. But I really liked Iron Flame, which was a not popular opinion. I am highly aware. So I was like, maybe I'm gonna like Where the Library Hides, because all the problems that people did not have with the first one and had with the second one, I'm having with the first one. So I wonder if I'll have them with the second one. And the second one for me was a 4-star. It was literally so much better. It definitely helps that I was listening to the audiobook. I will say that definitely gave it points, because then I had to do less work. Also, fixed one of the other major problems that I had with book 1, was that book 1 is mainly from, I think her name's Inez. I feel like I'm remembering that. Whitford Hayes, yeah, that's the guy. So the first book literally has like mainly Inez's perspective, and she has no freaking clue what's going on. And we get like every like 12 or so chapters, we'll get a random paragraph from Whit, which is the guy. And like those were fun, but like they did not help. Like they kind of made things worse and make book 1 seem more badly put together, because any tension that Inez and him could have possibly had by him being completely mysterious was gone, because we get a paragraph saying like he hates her, and we're like, right, of course he does hate her, because she's stupid and he's lying. So there's nothing redeemable about these characters. But book 2, because we're getting more from Wit, and like Inez and Wit are keeping more secrets from each other, it was really fun. And there's a lot more. The payoff from book 1 is much better. I feel like the plot was better written, better balanced, more stuff made sense, the things were a little more coherent. I do think it helps that I also went in thinking book 2 was gonna be really bad. So go in with just no expectation. Like literally expect the floor, and it will give you like a step up from that. But I had an enjoyable time. The audiobook narration is really fun, so like that definitely also helped. And yeah, she basically, I wrote, after girl makes everyone mad, she has to fix it. Turns out life sucks sometimes. Because honestly, there's some stuff that happened in there that I was truly upset about. I cried during this book, which I was so emotionally checked out during the first one. I don't even know where it came from. I literally was crying the second one, and I was so obsessed. I think it's because I realized by book 2 it was not that serious, and if I read it like it was not that serious, I had a good time. So take with that as a grain of salt. Take with that as a grain of salt. That's not a saying. Oh my god. Alright, so now we officially get to move on to book 5 for the category, and I read The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Amelie Wen Zhao. This was an audiobook, and it was the first book in the Three Realms, I believe, duology. It might be a series, but Song of Silver Flame McKnight, that series is a duology, and I think this one's a duology, and the new one comes out in January. And I will not lie, I did not realize it was by Amelie Wen Zhao, so I wish I would have waited to pick it up as a book, like a physical book, but I was already like 80% of the way through the audiobook when I realized, and I had a really good time. It is a fantasy romance series, and I gave it a 5-star. It was very good. What I wrote was, girl who is sole protector of her village must go train to protect her family by winning a pill of immortality. Not everyone is who they seem, and she might be involved in something much bigger than she thought. I think that's all I can say without giving spoilers. The magic in this world is very fun. I feel like it is what am I trying to say? I feel like it is less in-depth than Song of Silver Flame McKnight. I prefer the world, Song of Silver Flame McKnight, but it was fun. It was a good time. It was exactly what it needed to be. I believe it's also like technically I think a romantasy. Did not go where I thought it was gonna go. For all the people who are suggesting this as like, you liked K-pop Demon Hunters, so read this book, I feel like yes, but also no, because where K-pop Demon Hunters is gonna make you feel good, this book is gonna make you feel bad. This book is gonna make you feel like, I was not mentally prepared for that, and I was really hoping that this thing was wrong, but it was not wrong. So now I have to deal and sit with these emotions that I really don't want to deal with, and I don't want to do this. And that's exactly why this book is so good. There are demons that are supposed to, like, the demons are hot. Like, that's just what they're explained to be. Like, the demons look human, but like, they look human in the sense where like they're inhuman how beautiful they are, because they're human looking, and like they're just like slightly off, but they're so gorgeous because they're slightly off. That's literally how she describes them in the book. I apologize that I'm low energy. We might turn off the lights, and I might do the rest of this video in the dark, because maybe it is a migraine, because the lights are really hurting my eyes and my head hurts. Oh my god. And like, it seems different every day. Like today this is helping, but the other days this was not helping, and I had to do this, and that was helping, but that hurts today. But the good news is, the next book brings up the next book. Okay, I'm turning off the lights, hold on. I'm turning them down because this is ridiculous. I took off my glasses. I can't see shit. I can't see past my elbow without my glasses, so, but I can read, so this is fine. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Catching Fire from the Hunger Games series. It is book 2 by Suzanne. It is a YA dystopian novel. If you've never heard of the Hunger Games, how? I think it's like quite impossible to go around these days without knowing what the Hunger Games are. But if you haven't, basically, in this world, there are this country called Panem, and there's a capital, and then there was 13 districts, and the capital was kind of oppressive on the districts. So the districts rose up in a rebellion against the capital, but the capital was more advanced than all of them, and basically crushed the rebellion and was like, well, we need a way to punish these like sectors for rising up because we are the government and like you need to do what we tell you. And so they created the annual Hunger Games where each district has to send 2 tributes, and it has to be a guy and a girl ages 12 to 17, 18, and their name gets pulled by this like bull, and they're sent to this like arena that's new every year where they have to fight to the death. And book 1 focuses on Katniss, who happens to go in place of her sister because her sister only had 1 entry. Katniss had like 22, and somehow her sister gets picked. So she goes in place of her sister, and she does everything possible so that she can survive. Book 2 focuses on a year that is what's called a quarter quell, and basically the quarter quells are when the capital is like, it happens every 25 years, and the capital is like, listen, we need to like extra remind you that you guys, what you did was terrible, and like we're still suffering, even though clearly the people of the district are the ones still suffering. So we're gonna make them extra horrible. I want to tell you how they make them extra horrible, but that will be spoiling the book, so I will not do that. But yeah, it is just as heart-wrenching as the first one, and it makes me horrified to read. I'm reading these right now because if you're new here, hi, I know the people who are not new here are probably so tired of me saying it, but I'm getting ready to read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping, which are the 2 prequel novels that came out recently. But I don't remember much about the series, which I'm actually finding out even more that I forgot about while I'm reading them. You can watch the movies, but like the movies are good, but you lose a lot of it because the books are from Katniss's perspective, and like the way Katniss thinks, you cannot tell in the way that the movie was shot and directed, which is actually one of the reasons why I think the movie was so good, because they used a different medium to such a beautiful way. So yeah, unfortunately, like, if you've never read The Hunger Games, there's nothing quite like reading The Hunger Games for the first time. There's a couple of lines in book 1 that just like, even though you read them and you know what's happening, you read them and you're like, what the? And literally, like, this book, most of the chapters gave me such like genuinely like intense reactions. I had to calm down. Like, I had to read something else. I had to do some like meditation before I went to bed because it was just they're so good. They're literally so good. So yeah, if you've not read The Hunger Games and you're scared of dystopian, like, okay, a little fair, but like, trust me, you will not regret reading The Hunger Games. They're so good. Wonderful. Those were 6 books. We still have another 6 to go, and luckily those are all middle grade. Yeah, I read 6 middle grade books. The first middle grade book that I'm going to be talking about is Maisie Chen's Last Chance. I DNF'd this, but I ended up rating it a 2-star on the sites where you rate things, because it is like a contemporary fiction novel about this girl. Her name's Maisie. She goes with her mom to go help take care of her grandparents because her grandpa like got sick, and they run a Chinese restaurant in Last Chance, Minnesota. I think it's Minnesota. That sounds right. And they're like, the mom goes to help. The mom is a food photographer, which her parents don't think is a real job. And there's a lot of beef between the grandparents, and the mom. And Maisie is like, I don't know what's going on. I've barely seen my grandparents like literally ever. I just know my family has beef. We run a Chinese restaurant. And yeah, and I'm spending my summer break at my grandparents' place in Last Chance, Minnesota, instead of like summer camp and fun school things. The book mainly is trying to focus on like struggles within immigrant families and like the history of Chinese immigration in the United States, like sickness in the family, and it does, but it does it like really bad. They're the only good parts of this book. So this book is like constantly, the grandpa begins to tell Maisie a story of her family of her family's history from immigrating from China to the United States to how they got to Last Chance. I did not finish this book, so I cannot tell you how that all ends up, but those pieces where he's telling the story are really good. The story is incredibly interesting. It's just really unfortunate because all the chapters in this book were literally like 2 pages long, and it was honestly really annoying because there was like it made me feel like the author had no idea what a chapter break is meant for, and it literally was, the writing was bad, the characters were bad, the like thought process that this girl was having was bad. I like think people forget how smart kids are. Like that just feels like what is happening with middle grade recently. Because when I read older middle grade, like example, Fablehaven, Kendra I believe starts when she's 12, and like, which I guess is like the older half of middle grade, but I don't know, she's not dumb. When you read Magic Treehouse, like the kids are not dumb, but like that's what literally the only thing I can explain. Like the sentences were so simple. It was like, Maisie thinks this, Maisie feels sad, Maisie, I was like, and maybe I just haven't read enough children's books recently, but like that just felt weird. But okay, I will also say I thought it felt weird, but then when I never check the reviews for a book before I read it. I want to go in blind. And when I read the reviews for the book, literally everyone who gave it a 2-star or under, or like a 3, literally anything under a 5-star, had the same like issues. They're like, what is happening with this book? A lot of people, I feel like it did a really good job bringing up topics of Chinese immigration history. It just doesn't go very in depth in a thoughtful way enough, where it just like, it kind of just feels like they're meant, like it feels like the book is the author testing herself on how much Chinese immigration history she knows about the United States. And like, yes, it could be a great jumping off point for kids, but like I feel like also when you're dealing with kids, like you can't just say like the Chinese Exclusion Act and give one sentence about it and like give no historical context to it and then expect like the reader to know what's going on. I know what it is because I took AP US history and went to the train museum in Sacramento, where they have an entire like room, I don't remember, it's been so long, like dedicated to the Chinese immigrants that helped build the railroads. And like I've personally read other stuff and yeah, history, but I'm also 22 years old. There's no way, like how, I don't even know what the demographic for this book is, which also didn't help because I also could not tell how old this girl was, and she was like, I'm 12, I'm about to turn 13. I'm like, there's no way you're 12 about to turn 13. Because like, what is this book? Are you, I literally went through this entire book thinking this girl was like 5 or 6 years old. It was pretty bad. Yeah, and the only reason I didn't give it my usual 1-star for the fact that it was bad and I had to DNF it because the writing was terrible, it was because like it really was, its heart was in a good place. Like it really was trying to like create this feeling of like yes, like how to deal with like sickness in the family and like the complicated history of being a Chinese person in the United States, especially after COVID. And like it really was trying, but it was so bad, and there were some parts that were just like blatantly racist, and like, and I know maybe at the end it would have like come around and like been like Maisie stands up to racism, but like it was not well done, and I just could not read it anymore. And yeah, there needs to be books like it, they just need to be well done, and this one unfortunately is not. Everything else literally for the rest of the video has better scores, and that is also because the next 5 books I'm going to talk about are all parts of series and like multiples in series. So the next book that I read was Golden Gate, which is the second book in the City Spies series by James Ponti. I had read this as an audiobook and it was so good. I had such a good time. It is like an adventurous like mystery, and I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. Basically, the City Spies, we're introduced to them in the first book. Same group of kids. In the first book, we're basically following Brooklyn, who is recruited to the spy school in the UK, and her and her friends, they work as like, because they're kids, they all have like gifts, but because they're kids, a lot of people tend to underestimate them, so they're not really expecting like a team of children to be spies, which is one of the things that makes their team so successful. Their coordinator is a man named, he calls himself Mother, which honestly is so fun. He's really sweet. And then Monty, who works as like the cook, and she's also like a computer genius, because at this location, which they call the farm, which is like their headquarters, they have like this the computer's called Benny. He's like super cool. He's like this crazy supercomputer. And yeah, but in the first book we're following Brooklyn, who's like more a computer whiz, but in this next one we're following like there's the part that I like about these books is it seems so far, now that I've listened to 3, there seems to be like an emotional storyline happening and a like, you know, spy cool adventure storyline happening, and they do blend, but like you can kind of like tell them apart, and then yeah, they're very well combined. The story is really well done. And this one we're following Brooklyn and Sydney, because Brooklyn did a really good job in the first one, and she gets a lot of praise from the group, which makes Sydney, one of the other girls who's been there longer, feel a little bit jealous. And it's really about like Sydney finding her place, reestablishing her friendship with Brooklyn. The way like Brooklyn and Sydney fight is so realistic to how girls at that age fight. Yeah, and like, oh, just the way the adults handle the situations with the kids, and then the kids have room for like their emotions. It's so good. And then the mystery is actually really interesting and really fun. I feel like I learn a lot when I'm listening to them or reading them, either or, whatever you're doing, just because they talk about a lot of historical places. Like, we get a lot of history of Alcatraz in that one, Golden Gate, San Francisco. Oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting it. But like the history, like the people who go out and like look for birds to find them. Like, we find out a lot about that profession, and then certain types of cameras. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. And then the other book that I read was Forbidden City, which is book 3. Also a 5-star. It was so good. This one we're following Paris, which is one of the boys on the group, and he's one, I believe, the oldest member of the group, and he has to be entered into like a chess tournament to get close to the number 1 chess player, because they find out some intel. So the number 1 chess player is from North Korea, and for some reason weird stuff is happening and they gotta figure it out. But also like Sydney and Brooklyn's whole spiel is still kind of happening, but like it makes sense that it's happening. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name. Oh, she's one of the youngest girl. We find out more about her history in this one, and more about like mother's past. Oh my god, it was so good. It's so good. I do like reading the physical book. I have the first one and I remember really enjoying it. But I do think I like the audiobooks more. I really enjoy the narrator, and I like the voices, and I feel like because there's so much happening, I prefer to be able to like sit and like imagine these books. I do feel like I would enjoy them even if I was reading them like a physical book, but the audiobooks are a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, the next ones I have, I almost forgot to hold them up because I have not had really any physical books this one. The next books I'm going to be talking about are books 1, 2, and 3 of Keeper of the Lost Cities. So that's Keeper of the Lost Cities, Keeper of the Lost Cities, Exile, and Keeper of the Lost Cities, Everblaze. All of these were a 5-star for me, and basically, it is a like adventurous fantasy series that takes place like in the contemporary, in the modern times. And basically, we're following a girl named Sophie who's secretly a telepath, but she discovers she's actually not human but an elf. After being brought to the Lost Cities, she tries to adapt to her new life, but ends up accidentally disrupting the like status quo, basically, which both doesn't make people happy, but also brings to light a bunch of stuff that the elven world that is believed to be so much better than the human world that they don't want to see, and like that stuff starts coming to light, and they're so good. They're so good, and they're hilarious. The author is so funny. Like, you can just tell how funny she is by how she writes. Like, it's more, reading these books feels like I'm watching like a Disney Channel TV show with how like bantery it is with all the characters, and it's so funny. The lore is like as deep as Avatar: The Last Airbender and like those types of shows. You just don't feel it because, well, it's kind of like Avatar because it has like that comedy element, but it also has that really deep lore that like you're constantly, like, it's constantly expanding every time you read a book. I'm rereading the series and I was rereading book 1 and I was like, wow, she literally knows nothing compared to book 9 because book 9 is insane. I haven't read 9.5. I'm rereading right now so I can read 9.5. It's just insane. Like, it's pure insanity how crazy this series is and how much I love it. So for Exile, we find out in the first book that there's like this secret organization who created Sophie. Like, we know that in the first book. We find out pretty soon. And she's kind of trying to figure out who they are. Like, are they the good guys? Are they the bad guys? Like, some events that happened in the first book. That would be spoilers if I talked about them more in depth. Leave you on kind of like, who are these guys? And like, what is going on? And yeah, definitely Sophie's trying to figure out who they are. And then we do get to meet the alicorn, which is so exciting. I love, what's her name? Sylvanie. She's so funny. Like, you never think a horse could, like, she doesn't like talk to Sophie, but like they can communicate, and like the horse is so funny. I love Keith. He's my favorite character. I love Exile so much. Like, I remember as a kid, if you can't tell how beat up my copy of Exile is. Like, this cover, I had to retape it even while I was reading because this cover is like holding on by hopes and dreams. And yeah, I love this book so much. And then Everblaze, there's a lot of tabs in here. I was not expecting to start tabbing, but this book makes me cry my eyes out. Like, this book is the first time we see a huge like world expansion in the series, and we get to meet a lot of new, so we know that there's multiple intelligent, what they call the intelligent species. So it's basically the gnomes, the elves, the ogres, technically the humans, but there's a bunch of them. But basically in these two books we hear about a lot of those groups, but it isn't until this one we actually start like communicating and talking to and like getting involved in the politics of those other species worlds. And oh my god, the political drama is insane. It's still like bantery and fun, but like it's also crazy. And yeah, this one makes me saw my eyes out. I believe I tabbed things where I thought they were funny. There's just so many good quotes, and like I don't really want to read any of them because I'm reading them and they're really funny in context, but if I read them to you, they're either spoilers or yeah, and there's literally nothing worse than getting the series spoiled for you. I think I got book 7 spoiled for me, or book 8, and it was like a major plot point. I literally remember being like, damn, this sucks. I can't explain much, but just trust, okay? They're so good. So sorry that I just can't function like a normal human being right now, but congratulations, you made it to the end of this video. I appreciate all the people who have subscribed, especially dealing with me not posting every week because I don't know what's going on. But I appreciate your guys' patience. I appreciate it so much, and I promise I like mean it. I know I just can't move my face right now because it hurts my forehead, and my head hurts, and the lights, and yeah, so many things. But I appreciate you guys so much. And if you enjoyed this video, and don't want to subscribe, I do appreciate if you leave a like. It really helps. And then leave in the comments, what is your favorite book that you read in August? I know it's been a while. I know. Please think back to what you were reading in August. It's been so long. But hopefully the part 2 will be out by Sunday. I think it will be. Just looking at my work schedule. Oh yeah, all that. On top of that, of having a headache last week, I was going to work so many days. Which I know I'm complaining. There's people who go to work 7 days a week. But just things are hard when you have a headache, okay? And I can't really think. So I will give you the end of this video in appreciation for putting up with me not being able to even open my eyes during this last half of the video. I will leave you with this video of Herman eating his own foot. Okay, bye!